Hi, welcome to the Digital Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Rard, and today we have a very special guest for you because I'm guessing if you're listening to this podcast, you're on a journey to figure out how to make money online, probably how to quit your job somewhere or create financial freedom in your life or time freedom. And today's special guest has done all of the above. And on that journey, not only has he done that about all the above, he knows what you're about to go through. He, in fact, helps all of our top students go through that very journey where they're quitting their jobs. As you're probably finding or can appreciate, sometimes we all need a guide on our journey, a guide who is calm, has wisdom, has experience, has trodden the path that you're about to go on. And today I want to introduce you to Calum, one of our head coaches, our Yoda of coaches. There you go. What do you reckon to that, Calum? I think that describes you perfectly. But Calum, seriously, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having us, Matt. Good to be back.
And as you know, it's always been our goal from day one at eBusiness Institute is to help people with this journey, not just with practical coaching techniques and the strategies that we teach, but also by inspiring them to see what's possible and to know that they can change their lives. You know, all our guys look up to you. You're incredibly successful with this strategy. You and Jen have created a digital agency where you can travel, a third of the year or at least a quarter of the year you're traveling.
Yeah.
You guys are doing this, replaced your corporate incomes. You earn a significant six-figure income. But most excitingly, you're also a coach for us. I think that's the coolest part, of course.
It is,
and you've been a coach for us for how long now? 5 years, would you say?
Yeah, beyond 5 years now. Yeah. Time's flying when you're having fun.
And so, Calum, what I want to start out today with, let's start out with your journey, your and Jen's journey. What were some of the things that Liz and I were able to help you guys with initially on that journey?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's two things. One was a big thing around belief because we didn't think we could do it. So, because it's such a new skill set, such a new world, we've come from a corporate background. So I think the belief you instilled in us that not only is it possible, but we could do it. But I think the biggest thing was probably focus. Because, and I joke even now with champions, the cool thing with, what we learn in the, business world is all the strategies are great. The bad thing is all the strategies are great. So it's really hard to go, which one should I do? And so you really helped us on that because you knew that a big part of our journey at that point in the early days when it was hard was we wanted to leave work and start to create those options for us. And the belief, but more the clarity and what we had to focus on to replace our income and ultimately leave work first was, what you helped us with the most.
And you should mention too, what was both your roles?
Yeah, so I came from a corporate HR background, worked in a whole lot of industries, and Jen was corporate finance. So both in the big skyscrapers in the city and working the 9 to 5, obviously a lot more than that. Yeah, look, we worked long hours, a lot of stress and all of that, but we got paid well for it. But that was a good thing. But again, it was the bad thing. It was kind of hard to leave and replace that. So we had a big job to replace those incomes.
Yeah. And how long did that, can you remember now, how long did that journey take?
So it was inside of 2 years. I think where we really locked in because we were around, but once we again had that clarity that we spoke about and the strategy we're going to follow, I could say really it was the 12-month mark, to be honest. Like that's when we locked in. Before that, we were learning. So if you count it's 6 to 12 months of learning and 12 months of making it happen. So it's a 2-year journey.
For you guys. Yeah, that's awesome. And to the point now, and we should reiterate too, did you have any online experience back then? I'm just thinking of someone listening to this podcast, they're going, it's all right. He's the guru of building websites now. But I think we all forget in our community that what was your background in terms of technical skills?
I liked being online, but I didn't have any skills. I mean, a bit of social media and all of that. But no, I mean, I worked on a computer, but again, HR is a very interpersonal type role. Worked on a computer in terms of using the systems we had to use, like programs. Pretty much everyone's desk job has a program they use. But no, I Googled, and that was about it, and a bit of social media.
So it's amazing how you can completely retrain.
Yeah.
And to the point too for you, Calum, we should mention some of your successes. You've had some big wins in terms of some of the big corporates that you've now built websites for as well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously at the start there was the network shows, so obviously big shows that people see on TV and everything. But now, yeah, we work with a lot of larger corporates, both on the East Coast, nationally, professional service type companies, IT companies, yeah, gosh, and then right through to trades as well.
And so you've found you're at the point now where it's quite flexible. You and Jen work from home. You're still in the CBD, but you guys travel a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, so we're traveling quite a bit, both for family things and for a bit of leisure as well. So yeah, have that flexibility to do it for sure.
And what size team do you have for your business?
Look, the core team is 4 people. And then we've got some specialists that we kind of bring in. So it probably brings us still under 10. It'd be 6 to 7. And I guess the way we've built our team for that flexibility is we all work remotely. But we've put the systems and everything in place to be able to stay connected. And I think in our mind, it's allowed us to build a team where I feel we have the best people, not just the best people around us, if that makes sense. So we've been able to, do that and build that remote team for, like I say, the flexibility to be able to do what we do from anywhere, really.
When you look at your journey, talking about team, is that something someone listening here and wanting to get into this online world, whether you're building websites for businesses or buying or renovating websites, is knowing what you know now, is that a key thing that you would suggest to people to be looking at?
Absolutely. Building a team for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the thing too is it doesn't have to be a huge team. But look, there are people who have built teams of 20, 30 and all of that, and great. But I think we have been able to build quite a significant business and now working on a lot of our own projects with that core team. And but that's where I think you get the leverage, because at first it's really attractive being able to do what you do from anywhere. Like I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I geek out on the keyword research now too. I was always about design and development, but it is cool and you can do that from anywhere. But then when you can start to leverage your time with a core group of people, that's where you get more results over time and have that little bit more freedom. And that's an awesome equation to have. Yeah. As we've progressed and built the team, we've focused on making sure we're doing the high value stuff. And the way we define that, there's a lot of high value stuff in everything we do, but is setting the strategy up front. So that's the keyword competitor research and seeing how that's going to influence the project. And then I'd say quality control at the end, like, so how close to that strategy did we get kind of thing? And then we'll do the touch up at the end. But that means that a lot of the doing in the middle is, managed by the team. It's, I think, knowing that at the start, it was knowing that it was probably going to come back 80% right at best. But someone else doing 80%, 80%, 80%, and me doing 20% is more than my 100%. So that was one of the things that helped get us over that. And that was something that you and Liz shared with us at the start too, was just seeing the power of that. And then, just like I say, focusing on those high value pieces and knowing that, we can ultimately deliver more.
Okay. So now let's look at the journey of how you're being able to help our clients. Because you've been coaching with us for so long and been so successful with our guys, we're seeing you think of all the success stories that, they're on this podcast, you're often there behind the scenes helping these guys. What are the sort of things that are helping these guys create 6-figure businesses?
Look, I think the big thing, and again, this all kind of comes back to the calls we used to have with you and Liz, but was having a clear goal or having a clear reason why you're doing this. Because again, I joke with a lot of champions I know, and digital investors, because we get to do a lot of calls with them as well. But you don't come onto this program because you had some extra money and time. Like, you came onto the programs and you would learn this skill for an outcome. This was just the vehicle to get us there. So I think, I went to the gym this morning, and it's like, we don't go to the gym to go to the gym. We go to the gym because we want to be fit, strong and healthy and, live a better quality life kind of thing. And so sometimes the building the sites and all that and doing the keyword research, it can be a bit of effort, but you need to know why you're doing it. And I think that's a big thing that we lock into, because again, you helped us lock into that. And it has to be those things that we always think it's money, and money is a nice gauge because you can say 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, whatever that might be. But you're usually doing it for what the money gets you, whether it be a bit more travel or time with your family or a nicer house or a nicer car. All those things are great, but whatever it is, maybe time with your kids or time with your family, that, like, lock into that. The 10 grand's just the way to say, yeah, that's what affords you it. Because I think it has to be the stuff that gets you out of bed when you don't want to do it. And 10 grand in itself doesn't really do it. The time with your family might get you out of bed to do the thing.
That's
so
right.
yeah, really locking into it.
Yeah.
Why did you come onto the program in the first place? Why did you want to learn this extra skill? Is a big one for sure.
And what about the big one? Because you said, like getting out there and the things that move the needles, as we know, are particularly if you need cash flow quick, right? You do the local business strategy because it's just the quickest way to quit your corporate role and go back to a high income. And one of the key bottlenecks there is getting the clients in. And I know what I love about what you do with the clients, you're very good at helping our very beginners, the ones who are quite nervous and more advanced, but giving them that advice to how to get out there and make those sales happen, how to network. What sort of things are you helping them? Like what's some advice that you give there?
Yeah, look, I think that's a good question too. I think the big thing that it probably comes back to most consistently, because everyone does come from such different walks of life. Some are corporate like myself, some are stay-at-home parents, some have just graduated from like tertiary education, and then everything in between. So, but there's so many different backgrounds, and I think the most consistent thing that probably helps the most is, whilst we're focusing on the sale, we need the sale to build the revenue to replace our income and those kinds of things, or create the options. That's why we're probably doing it. But I think the shift that I'm able to get them to focus on is, how can you help people? Because if you've picked up this skill and you can build a website that can get traffic to it and make a phone ring, you need to help people. And it's kind of, if people are hungry around you and you know how to cook them a meal. And so it's the same thing. You literally have a skill that can put food on the table for people. So if you focus on how can I help you, as opposed to how can you buy from me or how can I sell to you, that it's such a subtle shift, but it seems to help people go, oh yeah, I can help people. Let me see who I can go help, not let me see who can buy from me. The outcome is the same. Like you shared, if you help enough people, you'll make enough money, kind of thing. And that's exactly it. Like if you come from a place of helping people, all of a sudden the words just come out. That's probably the most consistent thing, I'd say. But then from there, it comes from doing a good job. And that's probably the other thing I've talked to a lot of champions about, is like, master your craft. It's funny how much easier these conversations get when you believe in your skills. And to believe in your skills, you have to do the thing. And so whether that's build the websites and then getting some content done and getting them ranking, all of a sudden it gets so much easier to talk to businesses when you have ranked a site, for example. So
I will point out, no matter what strategy you want to do, whether it's buy websites, build them from scratch, or build them for businesses, we call it here at eBusiness Institute, reps, reps, reps. The more websites you can practice with and play with and build, and that's one of the key things we're super passionate about. Caleb, as you've noticed, you've mentioned this to me a few times, and you've spoken about this at our boot camps. The danger of listening to all our awesome podcasts and hearing the amazing stories of all our success stories. Think of all the cool people that are in our community, like Greg O'Rourke and Mission Avni and Stephen and Melissa, Nathan and Lex, all you coaches who are absolutely mind-blowing stories. And the problem is people start comparing themselves to these people. Well, yeah, look at you laughing. Well, what are the challenges around that one, Caleb, that you've observed over, particularly in the last few years, as it seems like champions now are getting success a lot quicker. So there's a lot of success stories in our community. What have you're at the forefront working with these guys here every day.
Mm.
What's one of the issues that you see when you go through their accountabilities and stuff like that? Is this a real problem when you start comparing yourself to all the success stories that are in our community?
Yeah, and it happens a lot. And now that you said that, I think you see the people that you do see on the podcast and everything that you interview, where it does shift is where they go from comparing themselves, so comparing themselves to all of that, and they're so far behind, to getting inspiration from it and going, okay, how do I use that as belief for myself and set a direction for myself? And so it really comes back to, I think we're talking about running your own race, because you have to use these stories and these interviews as what's possible. But it's just fascinating how people from all the different walks of life have done this one or two courses that you offer and taken it in 70 different directions. It baffles me, but it's because we have slightly different aims that we're going for and slightly different backgrounds that we can lean on and slightly different interests, But I think, the people that we do see on the podcast and everything have taken a bits of all those different stories. I like how they did that, but I like how they built their team and I like how they've structured their business, and then just turned it into their own journey. But it really is, getting the inspiration and then running your own race. And I was thinking about this. I was looked into a lot of Stoicism stuff, and this Marcus Aurelius from like over 1800 years ago talks about, if you want to progress, stop comparing yourself to others. So this isn't a new problem. This is 1800 years ago. People are still comparing themselves and beating themselves up and everything. So it doesn't serve us. We have to take the inspiration and go, wow, you can do that. And then go, okay, how do I use that as fuel and motivation to do my thing?
It is a big thanks to you coaches, because the students do look up to you guys and they literally stand on the shoulders of giants and they think it's normal. What you're doing, they now think, oh, and then they see the podcast interview where people like Jing do it in 12 months. They're not meant to do it in 12 months quite that quickly, but that's a joke, by the way. But it is, the results are coming a lot quicker now. And obviously we've matured as well here at the eBusiness. I think we're getting better at what we're doing, but it does lead to this very real problem. If you're listening to this, is don't beat yourself up if you're not getting results overnight. This is not a get rich quick thing. It's a journey. It's a, like, look at, and that's one of the big things I know you're really, really good at helping these guys understand. It's when you think about it, it's a big mindset thing, really. It's got nothing to do with their technical skills.
No, exactly. And it is a journey. And I think, again, the conversation that comes up a lot is don't compare my year 6 or 7 to your year 1. We're at different points, and it's good. Get the inspiration, know what's possible and all of that. But we're at different points of the journey. So you just, it's very hard to move forward from a position of beating yourself up. But if we can celebrate those little wins along the way, that will add up. And the stuff that, now that we've been talking timeframes that we did, let's just call it 5 to 7 years. A lot of what we've achieved in that time, it was 5 and 7 years. It is happening quicker now, but these are like 10-year goals for us. So and we've hit them. And so now we get to reset and we go, cool, well, that happened a bit quicker than I thought. It didn't maybe happen as quick as we'd like. Of course, we wanted it to happen in 1 or 2 years, but it happened really quicker than we thought, because it's, let's call it 5 to 7 years instead of 10. So we're 2-3 years ahead. And now we can go to the next thing. But it's just, and this is another thing. It really is focusing on the journey. I think the one you share is the Jim Rohn, become a millionaire for who it makes you, not for the $1 million type thing. And you do change through this process, and you start to realize there is, you really lock into your why you're doing all these things, but it takes time. And 5 to 7 years to change the trajectory of our life is not much. I spent almost as long at uni. We've completely changed the trajectory of our life. We get to travel more when we want. We get to be with our family when we need to, all those kinds of things. So it's not long.
Yeah, and I think too, you can add to that list. You also get to change lives by being a coach with us. And I do want to say a big thank you. I want to end the interview by acknowledging just what an awesome job you and Jen do helping our community, along with all our other amazing coaches as well. But I know you've changed a lot of lives just by people being able to tap into your wisdom and your personal journey. Because the good thing that of you having done this for so long now is you know what anyone that's listening to this podcast is about to go through or the journey they're on. And like I started out this podcast, sometimes you need a guide. And I like to think here at eBusiness Institute, if you're the right kind of person, we're really, really good as guides. As you can see today from Calum, what an awesome, awesome coach he is and an individual he is as well, and does an awesome job for your clients when you're building websites for these corporates. So Calum, I do want to say a big thank you for coming along and sharing, I don't know, nearly a decade's worth of wisdom with everyone, distilling it down. So hopefully anyone listening to this, when they're on this journey, you know the key things, the MRAs, the maximum return activities, or the things that you need to have in your mind that you really should be focusing on. And as you can hopefully also appreciate, there's a lot of mindset sitting in there, which we're really passionate about teaching as well. So seriously, Calum, thank you so much for everything you're doing to help everyone in our community.
Thank you. Great to be a part of it and great to share. Hope it helps.
Awesome. Thanks so much.